Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming Daily with me, John Jordan. So the news we're looking at today is from Animoca Brands, well-known blockchain game developer, publisher out of, based in Hong Kong, floated on the Australian Stock Exchange. And it is announcing some more auctions for its game F1 Delta Time. So I had lots of fun last year looking at the auctions of F1 Delta Time. This will be the third kind of wave of auctions that the game has done. They're all kind of full cars, F1 cars, NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. And obviously they're all very high rarity value in terms of their stats in the game, and in terms of these are basically one-off cars that are being produced. So the first set of auctions was the most spectacular, I suppose. They were mainly there were three cars, or some cars themed around kind of countries. So we had a Monaco one, obviously based on the Monaco kind of Grand Prix circuit. We had a France one. We had a Japanese one as well, and also there was this kind of like the 111 car, the famous one that sold for over $100,000 at the ETH price at the time. Then we had another wave of releases. There was 10 cars, so one from each of the official Formula One teams that are currently in there. So one McLaren, one Mercedes, one whatever. They sold pretty well as well. Obviously, the interest was more on the Ferrari and the Mercedes than some of the other kind of lower performance cars. But now we have this new wave, and this is kind of interesting. It's tied around, or the timing at least is tied around Chinese New Year, so end of January. And this first auction, there'll be 4 cars in this kind of auction set, and this is the first one will go live in terms of the auction on the 23rd of January and run for 3 days. So typical auction as we've seen before. It's going to run effectively. It's actually running on OpenSea, but you kind of view it through the F1 Delta Time website. And people obviously just bid up there, and it's kind of always interesting to see the patterns of people bidding. I guess what will be interesting about this set is they're unlike the other auctions we've had, which were in some way linked to Formula One, kind of formally or informally. This is very much kind of like a fantasy sort of thing. So the cars obviously look like cars, but the kind of the art style on the cars is mythical creatures. So the first one is the Azure Dragon, which apparently represents East and the season of spring. And then if we look down here, we can see there'll be these four guardians. Also the white tiger, the black tortoise, and the vermilion bird. And those are all part of kind of Chinese mythology. So it probably won't appeal really to people outside China, I wouldn't think. And also, as a wider aspect, kind of Animoca Brands is also doing some interesting promotional giveaway stuff around Chinese New Year. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. What's also worth kind of mentioning, because it's in this press release, although we have to go kind of right down the bottom, is that for the first time, Animoca started talking about the in-game currency. So there's going to be an ERC20 token called Rev. And kind of Rev will act as the in-game currency. And as part of this promotion, they're kind of giving away Rev. So you can, if you kind of sign up, you get some Rev. And if you do some tweeting, you kind of get Rev. And also, they're talking about with these, particularly with these high-end cars, you can generate Rev by staking these cars. So you'll be able to do this, I think, with any car you have in the game. But the higher value cars you have in the game, you can stake them. So basically, you can't then use them in the game because they're kind of being, kind of held by the game itself. But then you can generate this revenue off of them to then obviously do other things in the game. It's kind of interesting. It's a something we've seen a lot in DeFi in the dApp space. People kind of collateralizing kind of ETH to get DAI, and then you get an interest rate on the DAI and lots of other kind of interesting things people are doing. This is the first time we've heard of it in a game, really. I don't think this will particularly drive kind of mass adoption. I don't think this will particularly drive people to spend more on the auction for this particular game. But it is interesting to see these kind of features, being included. Because obviously one of the things that's interesting about blockchain games is we can do all these kind of cool things are built around kind of tokenomics and how that works. So it's pretty interesting. To me, that's more interesting than another auction. Although obviously the headlines will be driven by the price that this car gets. Again, it's interesting. So there's the stats here. So it does tell us the rarity level and the top speed. So it's going to be top speed of 988 out of a possible 1,000. So it's going to be a highly powerful vehicle in the game. But obviously the value of it is not the fact that it has these stats. The value of it is more kind of fluid around owning one of these kind of one-off vehicles, and it being bought in an auction, which obviously has its own kind of psychological dynamic. Maybe it has a philosophical dynamic as well, then, as meaning psychological. So it'll be interesting to see whether the Chinese crypto whales get really into this. I say starts 23rd of January, so we can all kind of see over the next weekend what happens. Thanks for watching. This is Blockchain Gaming World Daily. Get that right, where we just very quickly kind of look at some of the news that's happening. If you're into blockchain games, please do subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of other different sorts of videos, a lot of gameplay stuff, kind of let's play, going into detail on blockchain games. So if you've got any comments, in the comments box with them, please. But thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.